3 hard knocks at my door, dead of night, and I knew right away something was off. My old dog, Ranger, went from lazy hound to guard mode in half a second, hackles up, a low growl deep in his chest. By the time I glanced through the kitchen window and caught the glint of a cheap plastic badge outside, I already had the gun safe open, cool steel in my palm. The guy on my porch looked like he ordered his whole uniform off the internet. Navy shirt tucked too tight, radio hanging useless, badge clipped crooked. But it was his stance that gave him away. Chin high, shoulders squared, like he was trying to convince himself he belonged there. I've seen men like that before, you know what I mean? The kind who want you scared because it makes them feel powerful. Open up. HOA enforcement. He barked it like it meant something, as if his voice alone could make my 40 acres of Montana pine and ridge suddenly fall under his control. This was exactly why I'd bought the land in the first place. No HOA, no neighbors breathing down my neck. I cracked the door just enough for him to see the holstered pistol and the real badge on my belt. Commander Dan Mallister, State Police, retired. And you, son, are no cop. His face went pale as fresh snow. For a moment, all you could hear was Ranger's breathing and the wind through the pines. He backed up fast, hand twitching toward his radio. I shut him down with a word. Stay right there. My voice, the one that used to freeze men twice his size in interrogation rooms, did the trick. He bolted anyway, tripped down my porch, vanished into the woods. I held Ranger back, even though instinct said chase. Experience said wait, watch, because I caught a second shadow deeper in the tree line, someone else, watching, waiting, organized. And in my line of work, organization never meant anything good. That night I sat awake, coffee in hand, thinking about the knock, about Lisa, my late wife, tougher than any man I ever knew. After she died, I sold everything, left the city behind. I came here for quiet, for peace. The locals took me in, Bill at the bait shop, Marcia with her world-class peach cobbler, Sheriff Caldwell, my old academy buddy. This land felt safe, real. So when a letter showed up on my gate, red ink, HOA notice, unauthorized construction, cease immediately, I almost laughed. No HOA out here. But Bill didn't laugh. He just took a drag on his cigarette and said, "You're not the first. Cedar Creek Estates down south, they think they own the whole county now." I brushed it off, until a week later I found yellow tape, HA enforcement, do not enter, wrapped around the new shed foundation I'd poured. Caldwell came out, took pictures, shook his head. "They've been pushing folks, Dan. Fake patrols, phony citations. Most people fold before it gets ugly." "Ugly, huh?" I told him I could handle time, but not harassment. He gave me a look. If they started, they're not stopping. The next day my power got cut. "Disconnect order, signed by you," the utility guy said. My name, forged. I sat on my porch with a shotgun, not scared but sure as hell not about to be run off my own land. Sure enough, yellow tape came back, this time wound around the shed like a crime scene. Sloppy but bold. Someone had been on my property again. Caldwell said, "Too many lawyers, too much fear. Most folks just move." Not me. That night, power died again. I sat in the dark, Ranger at my feet, heart beating steady. A truck rolled up, utility guys, another forged order. I started to see the pattern. They wanted to scare me out, not just harass. When Ranger growled at the window and I saw a blinking red light halfway up a pine, I grabbed my sidearm and found a cheap motion-activated camera aimed right at my living room. Someone was watching, planning. Later that night, I caught a glimpse of a man slipping through the trees, hoodie pulled tight, moving like he knew his way around. I barked, "Private property. Armed homeowner. Show yourself." He ran, disappeared into the woods. I called Caldwell. "Not amateurs," I told him. "We've got a problem." By sunrise, I'd made up my mind. Time to stop waiting. I drove straight to Cedar Creek Estates. All iron gates, fountains, perfect lawns, every mailbox the same. Place smelled more like control than community. At the gate, a rent-a-cop in sunglasses didn't even look up until he saw my badge. I asked for Walter Pierce, the kingpin. His mansion sat at the top of the hill, 3 stories of smug. He met me at the door, smile polished like his marble floors. "Commander Mallister, what brings the state police?" I got in his face. "Cut the act, Walter. You send fake cops to my cabin. That's a felony. Trespassing, forgery, surveillance." He tried to play dumb. called it a misunderstanding. I snapped. My land isn't yours. No HOA jurisdiction. He stepped close, voice low. Maybe you were a commander once, but here, I have more power than you think. I leaned in, matching his stare. Let's test that theory. His eyes flickered, just a second, but it was enough. This war had just started. Back home, I locked down my place. Motion lights, trail cams, perimeter alarms buried under the pines, all the old tricks from tactical ops. That night, 2:17 a.m., silent alarm bust. 3 figures around my shed and generator, dressed in black, gloves, moving with purpose. Not kids. Pros. I stepped out, rifle ready, hands where I can see them. They bolted. One came at me with a wrench. Ranger leapt to my side, and I fired a warning shot. They ran, wrench clattering to the dirt, but they'd almost killed my power for good. After that, the gloves were off. I went to the county clerk's office, badge buying me a look at files no civilian gets. Land surveys, zoning proposals, forgeries, maps claiming Cedar Creek's HOA stretched miles past the actual borders. Pierce wasn't just expanding. He was erasing lines, buying up land on paper before anyone could fight back. I tracked down the Whitakers, ranchers out by Mill Creek, found them tough as barbed wire, shotgun on the porch. They showed me stacks of fake violation notices, photos of SUVs marked Community Patrol, lurking at their gate at midnight, even a fake lien letter threatening foreclosure. You're not the first to stand up to Pierce, Ella Laner said, but most don't last long. I promised her he picked the wrong ranch this time. That night, just before dawn, my alarm went off again. Caught a guy digging behind my shed. Hoodie, gloves, metal box half buried. When I cornered him, recognized him as the fake HOA cop from my porch. He was bleeding, desperate. They're gonna bury me next, he whispered. Panic in his eyes. It's not just Pierce. HOA's a front. Money laundering, land grabs. I was just supposed to scare you. I pulled the box open, bundles of cash stamped Pierce Development, a flash drive, photos, a list of names, Caldwell, Marcia, the Whitakers, and me, all labeled by push, threat, remove. My name was slashed in red. Remove. Caldwell and his deputy rolled up, cuffed the guy. Inside, the files on the drive spelled it out. Doctored permits, forged signatures, a folder called Expansion Plan Timber Falls, mapping a private HOA district that swallowed my land and half the county. They're not building a neighborhood, Caldwell muttered. They're building a county. Before we could catch our breath, an explosion tore through my shed, then another at the generator. Flames rose, everything I'd built burning. This was their message, back off or burn. Caldwell made me stay with the Whitakers for safety. That night, through the rain, Ethan Blake, the slick consultant who dropped a business card in my driveway days earlier, tapped on the window, suit soaked, face pale. I was the one who planted the box, he whispered. Pierce is tied to foreign investors, land flipping networks, local officials. I have proof, but I need protection. Before I could answer, a red laser bloomed on his forehead. I dove for cover. Shot cracked the glass. Ethan dropped in the mud, blood soaking into the rain. Sniper, professional. Caldwell arrived fast, but it was too late. In Ethan's pocket, I found a flash drive, note wrapped around it. Password, 911 Lake Ridge. I'm sorry. Back at the sheriff's office, the drive opened a flood. Audio, contracts, emails, ledgers, even hidden video. Walter Pierce, 2 suits, and a terrified man across the table. Sign the deed. You walk away alive. That's the deal. Next file. Approval letter signed by Judge Henry Barrett, my old friend. He'd given Lisa's eulogy, hugged me with tears, and here was his name at the bottom of forged permits. Then the real twist. Word comes down, Walter Pierce is gone, vanished into the night. But on his desk, a map of my property, a spot marked deep in the woods. Caldwell and I hiked out in the rain, found a rusted trapdoor under an old blind. Bunker underneath, walls lined with maps, names, surveillance feeds, and at the center, Phase 4, remove stubborn elements. My face front and center. Then came the voice behind it all. A grainy face on the screen. Not Pierce, not Barrett, but Leonard Voss, the architect. He'd run HOA takeovers in 4 states, used money, threats, violence to roll up whole counties. You think this ends with Pierce? He taunted. You've already lost. My men are headed to your cabin. Your dog. Gunfire outside, searchlights, federal agents swarming in. We seized the servers, arrested Barrett, and as the screens went dark, Voss's words echoed. 1 week later, baited by news of Barrett's plea deal, Voss fled to a private airfield. Caldwell, Ranger, and I led the raid. Shoot out in the dark, Ranger barking like war drums, and I tackled Voss before he could escape. You burned my land. You murdered Ethan. What? He sneered. Because I could. With Voss in custody, the network fell. Contractors, developers, judges, the whole rotten system exposed. I rebuilt my cabin stronger, the shed bigger, flag raised each morning. Marcia brought cobbler, Whitakers brought honey, Caldwell fished the creek with me. Ranger finally slept sound. But peace, out here, never lasts. 2 weeks later, another envelope showed up. Black paper, an oak tree surrounded by stars, the symbol from a file I'd once seen in Virginia years ago. The architect wasn't alone. And I knew, somewhere out there, another war was waiting, and I'd be ready. So tell me, what would you have done if they knocked on your door? Drop your thoughts below. Where do you draw the line between right and wrong, law and justice, community and control? Because out here, the fight never really ends.